Hello, all. Once again, welcome back to the Interventionist. Thank you for your continued support. And we have already crossed the 500 plus mark in the last video itself. Uh, I hope you will do continuing the support. And please note, I have created an Instagram account so that we can share smaller videos, smaller updates, real time, so that you all will not miss anything. So do scan the code shown here right now. Use your mobile phone scanner to do that, or you can use the Instagram app to directly add to it. Please do that. And so this is actually the second part of the MRI fistulogram series, and this is the last part. Here we are going to discuss about the case, how to report an MR fistulogram, what are the important things you have to check. So we'll start with reporting checklists. So first and foremost thing you should importantly remember is, before positioning the patient in the MR machine, you have to ask certain clinical details about the patient. You have to be sure about certain clinical details. The most important one is about previous clinical interventions. Any surgery done in a previous history should be there, and the time of the surgery has to be noted in particular, especially because if they have done some suturing using our MR sensitive materials, that can cause the different kinds of artifacts in the MR imaging, spoiling the study. That's one thing. Second thing is, in countries like India, there are a lot of non-conventional, that is non-medical management done by this. There are a lot of quacks managing it. There are a lot of Ayush type management as there. So you have to know specifically whether they have done something like one such procedure where they insert some wick into the fistula. Such a procedure I have seen once, but I don't have a case to show you about that. But these things can all significantly damage the image quality. So remember that. Then obviously, I've told previously also, mark the external opening you've seen. Now to imaging part, external openings and external opening, maybe it is single or multiple, you should be commenting in your report based on the position in the area anterior or posterior, or in relationship with the anal clock. Similarly, internal opening should also be commented the same way. So in the case whether there is no internal opening, you should mention currently there are no internal opening is seen, definite internal opening is seen into the lumen. That you have to be clearly mentioned in your report. Then the next thing is about the fistula tract, which is quite important. You have to write when you report a fistula tract, you have to write the type of tract. The type of the tract being that whether it is a simple linear short, that means shorter, or curvilinear tract, which is the most commonest tracts we see, or whether it is a complex branching type of tract. You have to be very clear in your language. You should ideally mention the length of the tract from the external opening till its ending. So there might be multiple tracts. If possible, you can give description of all the tracks if possible, or else you can do a 3D reconstruction of the image in T2, heavily T2 weighted images, and you can supply the measurement in that images so that the surgeon will be happy. Okay, so there is also you should definitively mention the relationship or the involvement of the sphincters in the report. Then the internal openings or endings in relationship to the anal clock also should be mentioned. So external opening, track type, track directions, length of the track, length of the track, multiplicity or single track, then the involvement of sphincters, and finally the internal opening also should be commented. And when you mention the internal opening, you should mention if possible, and if you are seeing it, you should clearly mention how far it is from the anal verge. This is very important. You should mention that also. So in the meantime, you should rule out involvement of levator ani muscle, which makes it very becoming a complex type of fistula with a higher grade, like supralevator or translevator type of fistula. So also you should rule out intrapelvic extensions. Reported vessels as fistulas tracts. Don't make that mistake. In case of any doubt, give contrast and then give the report. Especially when you have a complex looking tract and there are a lot of vessels adjacent to it, which is very common, especially when you have an acute presentation. You may think the vessels as tract even in T2 images. So give contrast which will highlight the tract separately and the vessels separately. Okay. Then now to the cases. So before going into the exact case, I just wanted to show you one normal pelvis case to show you how the planning angulations differ. So this is actually a female patient, which was the patient actually was evaluated for a pelvic pathology. We are not going to discuss about the pelvic pathology or anything right now. I'm just trying to show you the plane of planning. So this is a sagittal T2 weighted images. You can see sagittal T2 weighted images. This yellow line corresponds to the referral line through which plane it is occurred. So first we will go and we will focus in the anal region. Okay. So this is the anal canal. So just see how the axials are made. So the axials are taken in normal conventional pelvic imaging. The axials are actually true axials. You can see the axial line is actually perpendicular to the plane, sagittal plane. So how it differs from a conventional fistulogram study? So this is it. So this is a T2 sagittal weighted images taken in FS, that is fat suppressed images. So this is an axial FS image. This is a coronal. This is an axial T2 image with no fat suppression. This is a coronal T2 image with no fat suppression. So you can see very well. Say this is the anal canal. So this is the anal canal. So this corresponds to the plane of the anal canal. So you see the planning is actually almost near perpendicular to the plane of the anal canal. Similarly, in coronal plane, it is taken near parallel to the your anal canal. So this is one thing which I wanted to show you before going into the cases. Okay, this planning part is quite important. Now the images which you should assess for a fistula, you should mainly start from a sagittal T2 weighted image where you can actually track the track if at all if it is present, and then you can follow it up on an axial image, or you can select any order of your choice. So in this particular case, it's quite difficult to see the track here because actually there is no obvious track in this patient. You have to be very careful in such cases because intersphincteric tract, especially when it is in the anterior half, as in this case, so we'll reduce the number of sections. We'll put only the relevant images. So I'm taking T2FS because the area was very clearly seen in T2FS images. So I am using the Radiant tool so that I can show the case to you guys. So the all patient names are randomized. These are not actual names of the patients which we have conducted, and for privacy purpose. So you need to worry about that. So I hope you can see the track right now very clearly. So in T2 weighted images, you can see faintly some hyperintense area is there in the anterior half. So when you report this, you should write there is a track seen, where first you should start either from the external opening or from the internal opening. So you should mention, if I am reporting this case, I will be mentioning it as the external opening is seen in the midline, very close to the anal verge anteriorly. So you should remember the Goodsall's law now. So anterior opening tracts have usually anterior internal openings. So when you come inside, you can see there is a track here. and there is no BBS internal opening here in this particular case. So this is like a intersphincteric short track, which you can see better in SAG images. I'll show you using the 3D cursor tool, which is very useful in Radiant. You can also try that. You can select it from the measurements menu. You select your 3D cursor, or you can just press the button Q. You can get it. So this is the track location. So once you see in SAG image, you can see there is a very short track, very short track. So now if you want to measure the length, you press L, then you can just measure it like this. So it's almost like an 1.1 to 2 centimeter track in overall length. It is not the exact length, it's an overall length, and it is actually in between the external and internal sphincter. So this is the external sphincter, this black line. So in male pelvis, the external sphincter merges anteriorly, closes anteriorly. So there is no doubt about that. And this slightly hyperindense area in between is the intersphincteric plane fat. So you can see the collection. You can see the track going inside. So this is the track. So here the track does not have an internal opening and it ends blindly. So how will you grade it? So we have an intersphincteric track, we have a collection. So it is not grade 1 intersphincteric fistula. It becomes grade 2. So you should mention the extent of the collection also. How will you mention the extent of the collection? It is quite simple. You have to select an image, but if you have a 3D image, it is better. But in this particular image, we didn't do the 3D sequence. You can always measure it on a clock position. So if you consider this as a clock, the collection is slightly extending from approximately 10 o'clock position till 2 o'clock position. Okay, so that is how you mention the extent, and the track direction you should mention is track is seen at 12 o'clock position. This is another case. I'm just showing you the post contrast T1 FS images. So here when you describe this lesion, you have to describe the external opening into the left, towards the left side of the natal cleft. It is in between the intergluteal fold, and when you come up, you can see the track is intersphincteric type, and it is going and opening around the 12 o'clock position, the 6 o'clock position. Sorry, it's not 12, it's 6 o'clock position here, and the track shows wall enhancement. So this is grade 1 fistula track. Okay, that is an intersphincteric fistula track. So at this point, I want you to just notice the enhancement and the signal of the ischioanal fat pad. Another gentleman who had presented to our department with acute pain and perianal pain and discharging sinus. So we had done a full study for this case, and we were able to do a post contrast study. We did a 3D sequence also. So in the left hand side here, this is a normal thick T2 weighted images, and on the right hand side here is a thin T2 weighted images. You can already see the difference between both. So one particular difference, if you look very closely, is that the internal opening of this case here is not very well clear, not that clear in thin images, but meanwhile it is very, very nicely seen in the 3D images. This is one interesting thing. You can see the entire opening going inside into the lumen. So this is there, and giving the track location and all, and reporting language for this case, if you see closely, this is like it is also somewhat like a curvilinear track arising from the skin of the right gluteal region, and the opening is almost at the external opening is almost at you can say it is almost at the 7 o'clock position or 8 o'clock position on outside. And you may see this also. See that the course of the track. See here, the course here in the axial image, particularly if you see it, it is a little bit high piercing. So it is piercing a bit higher than usual in the transsphincteric route. So where is it piercing? So this is the one great advantage of using a 3D image. So if you look closely, When you come down, this is the external sphincter complex. So this is the internal sphincter. So when you go up slowly, when you go up, you are seeing a thickening here. Okay, so now we will do a 3D reformation of this image. I'm putting it into coronal sections. So now you look closely. You can see on at this plane there is an additional structure coming here. So this is actually the puborectalis muscle. So what happened in this particular case was, even though the course is transsphincteric root, the transsphincteric piercing is actually happening at the puborectalis muscle. So this is significant. You have to specifically mention which area of the external sphincter it is piercing. So when you go up, you can see the levator ani link going up, and it is not involved beyond that. So this is one such interesting case you have to see. And meanwhile, so now the question comes about whether this track is acute or chronic. So even in the T2 images, the wall is not that dark. It has some hypointense signal with a central hyperintense area. And now we have to do a post-contrast study. So this is a T1 pre and T1 post contrast study. This is a T1 pre-contrast study and this is a T1 post-contrast study. You can definitely make out the difference here. Here the wall is not enhancing much. Here you can see some amount of enhancement. So we did a 3D sequence for T1 also. You can do T1 post-contrast 3D images, which will very nicely show you the tracks, additional tracks, wall enhancement, even the internal opening or any other secondary findings within the lumen. In this scenario, you can even do a dynamic contrast study if you have the time and you are suspecting some secondary pathology for a chronic fistula. Okay, so here this is what you call as a like a tram track kind of enhancement, where the wall will enhance nicely in post-contrast study. So this is what I was discussing in the theory part. In an acute setting, most of the fistula tracks will show wall enhancement like this. So remember that. So this is one use of the post-contrast study, where you can see the actual tracks in better morphology. So this is with this I'm concluding the case discussion here, but I have a couple more cases to show you, very interesting cases. So this is another patient who came to our department with a history of recurrent perianal fistula. And this patient has an interesting track orientation, as you can already see here. So we'll directly go to the diagnosis here, because we have to limit this total video length to 20 minutes. So then we should see more and more cases. So here in this case, in particular case, you can see the track very well in T2 images. It is having somewhat like a very deviant course, and it has have a branching pattern here. So in the axial images, if you see closely, I'll just increase the brightness. Axial images, if you see closely, you can see that the track's external opening in the FS images is seen to the natal cleft towards the right side in the intergluteal fold. Okay, and it is roughly at, if you consider the anal clock here, it is roughly at 7 to 8 o'clock position, but it doesn't matter here because this is already a complex track. So when you come upwards, you can see there is an additional blind ending branching pattern here. So very often you may mistake it as a vessel, but no, it is not a vessel. It is an additional track which is which you can confirm it and seeing it in axial T2 weighted images, because the track will have a definitive hypolining lateral to it. See, you can see. I will just zoom the case so that you can see it. So you can see here the track has a hypointense wall. Okay, so this is a chronic fistula. Generally, chronic fistulas will tend to have this hemosiderin or deposition in the wall, which will show a lower signal on T2 weighted images. And as you can see, the track after its origin from the right gluteal fold, it goes up, and instead of going into the intersphincteric plane like this, it has actually gone outside the external sphincter, and at a point here it is piercing the external sphincter and going into the lumen. So this is like a transsphincteric tract. So transsphincteric tract, according to St. James fistula classification, is grade 3. Okay, so grade 3 fistula is there right now. But what else is there? We have an additional tract here. So it has become a complex fistula. So this is grade 4 by default. Okay, now about the internal opening. You can see it is going, transsphincteric fistula is going like this, and you can see faintly some hyperindense area is there here. So it is almost opening into the lumen at 4 to 5 o'clock position. Okay. This is another quite interesting case which we had. This is actually a female patient. You can see the lateralization of the external sphincter here. So what happened in this particular case was that there were multiple external openings, and the interesting thing was the external openings were actually on either side of the gluteal fold and that close to the natal cleft. So there were two openings which you can see right away here. So one is this one. This is the track on the right side which is going up like this, and this is the track on the left side going up like this. So if you see it closely, what happened here is the track actually goes superiorly, and it is the right side of track is actually seen outside the external sphincter. So this is the external sphincter. So it is seen outside the external sphincter, and the left side one, the left side track actually tracks a little bit more laterally. It doesn't go inside, more laterally, and it ends into a collection here. This is actually a collection. It is not a tract. This is a collection which is very nicely depicted in the diffusion weight image due to the high restricted diffusion you can see here. So region, and you can mention the extent of this thing based on clock position. It is almost extending from the 4 o'clock position till 7 o'clock position and posteriorly, and give that morphology as a horseshoe type collection track. Now the question is, where is the track? So you can see here closely, you can see a track which is going anteriorly, and it is piercing the external sphincter and going inside like this. So the internal opening is also very well maintained here. So this is a complex transsphincteric fistula. So we graded it as grade 4 fistula. So these are the cases which I wanted to discuss with you. Once again, thank you. Do subscribe, do continue sharing, do follow us on Instagram, visit the code, and hopefully we will reach the 1,000 mark as fast as possible. And I will keep my word. We will be conducting a grand quiz soon. And happy Eid wishes to you all, my friends and colleagues in this group. Thank you. See you soon.